Welcome viewers to this week's Shasta Historical Society video. For this episode we find ourselves about a mile down a hiking trail off the Bailey Cove day use campground, which you can reach by taking exit 695 off Interstate 5 and driving a little ways down Shasta Caverns Road. I believe the docks in the lower left corner belong to Holiday Harbor. What you see beyond the houseboats is the McCloud River arm of Shasta Lake, and while we cannot pinpoint its exact location, below these waters in this general area once stood the former Baird Fish Hatchery. If you imagine a time before Shasta Dam was built, before us would have run the McCloud River in a generally south-southwest direction, or left to right as we're looking at it. The hatchery was built at a point on this side of the water, a bit north of the river's intersection with the Pitt River, and not far from what we today call Shasta Caverns. Upon their arrival in August 1872, Livingston Stone and his two assistants, Myron Green and Willard T. Perrin, began building a house, tent hatchery, tanks, and a flume, the start of what was to become the first salmon breeding station on the Pacific coast. Over the next 4 years, a water wheel was added, and they also erected a rack in the river, which created a barrier used to catch the salmon. After operations were proven successful, they constructed permanent buildings in 1874 and the permanent hatchery in 1876. By this time, the workforce included Stone as the person in charge, along with a foreman, several fishermen, various white and Indian laborers, a photographer, and a Chinese cook. While tensions obviously existed between the Baird Hatchery and the Wintu people, due to the encroachment of the white man into native fishing grounds, Stone was respectful, kind, and worked hard to establish good relations between the two groups. One such effort was giving salmon to the Wintu after the eggs had been processed, not that they didn't have access to the salmon beforehand. The number of salmon eggs collected each year varied depending on conditions. Since they began that first year in 1872, after the best of the salmon run was over, they only collected 50,000 eggs. The next 2 years, 2 million and 4 million eggs were gathered respectively. The eggs were packed between layers of moss from springs at Mount Shasta and shipped east to 23 different destinations. In 1883, only 1 million eggs were taken, with the decline attributed to disturbance among the salmon caused by heavy blasting during the construction of the railroad from Reading northward, a large number of fish taken for food, and the malicious destruction by railroad workers. Several million eggs were handled each season until 1911, when the Baird Hatchery collected only 60,000. As a result, the Baird Hatchery became primarily a handling station for eggs from the Battle Creek and Mill Creek hatcheries during its later years due to the reduced salmon population in this area. Named for Dr. Spencer F. Baird, the first United States Commissioner of Fisheries, the hatchery operated until 1935. The Baird Fish Hatchery was initially established to obtain a supply of salmon eggs that could be shipped for the purpose of introducing them into the East Coast waters to counter the depletion of Atlantic salmon. Over its lifetime, the facility shipped eggs all over the United States, and even internationally. While the Pacific salmon did not adapt well in the east, restocking efforts to combat overfishing in other parts of the country proved to be very successful. And the descendants of the salmon who once swam in the McCloud River live today in the waters of New Zealand as a result of the Baird Hatchery.